Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Knits and Pieces, to our Knit Chat Cafe. My name's Noelle, and this is my friend
Kelly,
and we're coming to you from Southwestern Ontario.
I like how you pause so I can say my own name, like you don't know me.
And you are?
And you are waiting.
There you go. So we're here in Southwestern Ontario, and I'm glad to see so many people have joined us already and from all over. I saw there's lots of people from different places in the States. There's California and Maine, and I can't even remember them all. Australia, there was New Zealand. I saw Southern the Netherlands. Ontario. Yep, Southern Ontario, Virginia, like from out Manitoba, Minnesota. Are they close? I don't know. I think Minnesota's close to Thunder Bay, which is relatively close to Manitoba. Geography was not my strong suit. I'm going to tell you that right now. Geography was not my strong suit.
No, we were all about the numbers, not about the pretty map colors.
That's right. Anyway, welcome everybody. This is our knit. I have a cat here. It's not our knit cat. It's Knit Chat Cafe. So it's our Tuesday night get together with all of our friends to share what we're doing. So welcome everyone. If you're new, we're glad that you found us and are joining us. And if you're returning, thanks for coming back. It's so nice to see so many people in here. And you guys had this conversation started so early. I was
over an hour ago.
Well, actually, I was setting something up, putting something in like back just shortly after 5 o'clock. And they were already, I think Nikki was one of them and maybe Kim were already chatting back and forth.
Yes.
So that's so nice.
And I believe, is Nikki in Newfoundland?
I think so.
And then Michelle joined the chat from Australia. And I have to say, this is one of like my favorite things about how the internet brings us together, because Michelle pointed out that they were 17,000 kilometers apart and sitting there chatting as if they're on the same sofa. So
and they're a day apart. They're not even in the same day.
That's right. They're not even in the same time zone, or not even on the same day. You're right. And so it's crazy, and it's heartwarming. And actually, I guess Noelle said they don't even need us, Kelly. They're just in here chatting.
You guys don't need us. Like, you guys get the chat started without us. We don't even need to be here.
We don't even need to be here. We'll show up. We don't want to miss out. We do not want to miss out. But yeah. So thank you. Thank you everybody for joining in. And thank you for those that get in here early and get the show started on a high note. Yeah, it's great.
So anyway, there were thanks for all the birthday comments last week and for the get well wishes. I am feeling better, but this is not a fun thing to get.
Again.
Well, we don't know that I had it the first time. We're pretty sure, but we don't know for sure because it was way early on when they weren't testing for it. But this time was much better than that time. So like last time I didn't even knit. This time at least I could still knit. So I did get some knitting done. But anyway, before we get into that, go ahead.
Can we just pause?
Yep.
I'm just noticing that Susie, who is Vegas Golden Knits, I think we've been looking for her, haven't we? Yes, okay. Susie, we have been looking for you. You 2 weeks ago were the winner of the bag, and we haven't heard from you. So
we need your address.
We need your address so we can get that bag mailed out to you. I just saw it come up on the screen in the comments, and I'm thinking there's an outstanding prize to be shipped.
Okay, so I'm looking for address.
Oh, she said she did email us. Okay.
I didn't get the email.
We didn't get the email.
I didn't get the email. So if you want to email again with your address, and I have now 2 weeks ago, I think the email that was in the podcast, I had knits and A-N-D, and it's not, it's knits N. So maybe it got sent to the wrong address, but it's knits in Pieces, and it's linked in the show notes now.
Yes.
So
good.
Anyways, I'll leave that up there.
We do not want you to miss out on that fantastic bag.
No, for sure. So, okay.
I will
check again just to make sure, but
Marianne is talking. Carry on.
Ahead.
Sorry. No, you go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying I kind of maybe had COVID brain for a week and a half, so I could have easily missed something.
Yes.
So
no, I was commenting on Marianne's comment. She said, "We are connected by stitches." I thought that was very nice. Yep. Very nice. Okay. So. All right.
Okay. So again, we've kind of been starting lately with going through and looking at some questions that we had on the previous episode. Like I kind of go through and have a look and go through it and see if there's any questions. So one question that actually was from the previous week, but I kind of forgot last week. A viewer had asked on what you do when you sew raglan seams together. So if you're doing a sweater and it's in pieces and it's raglan seams, like how do you put them together? Now I haven't done one in quite a while, but I do remember doing them because when both Kelly and I started knitting, all of the sweaters that we knit originally were sweaters that were done in pieces and you had to sew them together. So yes. I do remember doing it. And I actually really liked raglans because I found that they were the easier ones to put together. Because if you had that raglan seam, and most of the patterns would tell you had an edge stitch before you did your decrease or increase, depending on which way you were doing the seam. So if you kind of put those two pieces together and did a mattress stitch,
yes,
from that, there would be one piece of your sleeve and one piece of either the front or the back, and you do a mattress stitch, it's going to line up those two stocking stitch seams, and you're just going to get a smooth, even line. And if you go in, there are quite a few tutorials. If you go in and look, just search it in YouTube, that will show you how to do that. But that's the best way that I found worked for me. Whether there's other ways or not, I don't know. I don't know if anybody else has any other ideas on that. But I found that was the way that kind of gave you the neatest line. And when you look at it, that way kind of looks like what designers are asking you to do now. Because oftentimes when you've got a raglan seam in a pullover that you're doing now, and it's a top down or one that you do all together, there's your decrease or your increase, depending on which way you're going. And then there's usually a stitch, either one stitch or two stitches before you do that mirrored increase or decrease. So you get that same look where you've got either one stitch or two stitches going down that look like your seam where things have come together. So, and then the other question I had was a lot of times when we do a pattern, we substitute yarns. We don't always use the yarn that was specified in the pattern. And when we've talked a lot about using our
maybe we should say rarely we use the yarn suggested in the pattern.
But when you use a yarn that you double, like for instance, I'm working on the Great Love Red at the moment, and I'm holding the host tides double. So when you go and look at a pattern, like a lot of times with the original yarn, it will tell you how many skeins of that original yarn that you need. But that's not really going to do you any good if you're either A, using a different yarn, or B, doubling up your yarn. So the really important thing that you have to look at is the yardage requirement. So if you look at that yardage requirement, and so let's say, just to make it simple, so if you look at the yardage requirement, it might say you need let's say you need 10 balls of Let Lopi, okay? And Let Lopi's, let's say it's got 90 yards per ball. Okay, so then you know that you're going to need 900 yards, right? So then you have to look at whatever yarn you're using. And if I'm using, okay, let's say I'm using Tides and I'm doubling it to get the same gauge, then I've got to look, okay, I don't just need 900, I need 1800. So then I'm going to have to go and look and see what type of put up I can get the Tides in. And we know it comes in the 50-gram cake. So you need to look at the yardage on that cake and figure out how many, if you're using the cakes, how many cakes you need, or if you're using the cone, whether one cone is going to be enough.
Right.
So it's really important that you look at that yardage figure as opposed to how many skeins of the original yarn are called for. And you want to watch that too, even when you're using, like even when you're doing a one skein project, like a one skein fingering weight project, different fingering weight yarns all have different yardages. So it depends on what the composition of the yarn is. You know, sometimes they 75-25 will have a higher yardage than an 80-20. or an MCN. So you really need to look at what the yardage is and what the original yarn used by the designer, what that yardage is. Because I know I heard a discussion, actually, it was on the Knitting Place, and they were talking about Hohi's latest shawl. I believe it's the one that takes a skein of fingering, and it also takes a skein of, I believe she used, it might have been Le Bien-Aimé's Kumo, but I'm not positive on that. But you have to look at those yardages, because if she used a fingering weight yarn that had 400 and you choose one that's only got, like, let's say 380, she did state that she used just about every bit of the yarn that she had.
Yes.
So you need to be aware of that when you're looking at it, that even the same weight, or just saying a fingering weight yarn, your yardage might be different. And then on top of that, you also need to take into consideration whether you're going to make any adjustments. So if you're doing a sweater and you always do the sleeves longer, or you want to make the body longer, it means you're going to need more yarn. To the same thing, I always end up doing my sweater shorter. So most times I don't need quite what the yarn requirements are, but those are things, the more sweaters you knit, that you'll get to know. So, and one other thing that I thought I'd mention, and probably a lot of you know this already, but there is a website called Yarn Sub. Is it Yarn Sub or Yarn Sub dot? Anyways, I will link it below this podcast, or I'll put it in the show notes. But if you have a yarn, or you can go in and you can put in whatever yarn the designer used, and it will bring up, through a list of all yarns that they have in their database, it will bring up a whole list of comparable yarns and it will tell you percentage-wise how close a match that yarn is to the original yarn. So if you can't find the original yarn and you're not sure what to make something in, I have gone to it and looked at it. And you can also use it in reverse. Like, let's say you've got a yarn and you want to know what to do with it. So go put your yarn in, and then look at all the substitutes that come up. And then you can look at those substitutes in Ravelry and try and match a pattern that way. So you can kind of use it either way, right? Either putting in the designer's yarn or putting in your yarn and seeing what it's comparable to.
I do like it when designers are very specific about the yardage in their patterns, though, as opposed to saying, okay, I used this yarn and I used one skein. And you'll see this frequently. The most places that I've noticed it is in the shawls. So somebody will say, well, you need one skein of color A, 2 skeins of color B, and another skein for color C. But they don't tell you how many actual yards or grams of that you're going to use. So sometimes that one skein that you need, and if you're talking about, like a full-sized, like a 100-gram skein, maybe you actually only need about 30 grams. And you might have had some leftover in your stash, but then you know where I'm headed with that, right?
Yep.
It's nice to use up leftovers.
Yep.
Noelle and I had this conversation this week that we have to get over something. I'll confess to it, because I do exactly the same thing. So if, let's say I had 3 skeins of something and I found a pattern that I really, really like, but it only called for 2 skeins, I wouldn't want to use the yarn that I have 3 skeins in, because then I'd have a skein left.
So then we go buy 2 more skeins. We go out and
we buy 2 skeins of something. And we have to get over that. Yeah. So,
like, how many of you have this? And I do the same thing. I've got, really nice yarn that I loved when I bought it, but like, I'm saving it for that special project. I'll have something that I'll think, yeah, but I don't want to do it in that. I want to save that. Well,
I know we need to get over that too. Right?
Yes. So I'm not speaking for anybody else, but I need to use my special yarn that I have, right?
Yes.
Good as now, people. Good as now.
Good as now. This is the time. Now is the time. Yes. And Elaine mentioned Flossie Knits did a great article on yarn subs. She said, particularly if you don't want to blend with mohair. Flossie Knits, who I think that is who I just found this week as a podcaster too. I'm pretty sure that's who. And is she also the knitter that does the vintage costume design as well? If she is, that's who I started watching. And I was quite intrigued by her channel. So I've watched a few episodes of that. Julia says she's glad her phone has a calculator.
Yeah.
Knitting takes a lot of math. It can. You're absolutely right, Julia. It certainly
does.
Can.
And the whole thing is, like, and going back and saying that oh, I've got 3 skeins and it's only going to take 2, so I'm not going to do that. Most of the time when I buy yarn, I don't have a pattern in mind. I buy it
No.
thinking, okay, well, if I get this much, I can do whatever. And
Yes.
then once I've got it, I try to be so specific about what I'm using it for. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we just have to get over it.
Just use
We
the
have to
yarn.
get over it. Use the yarn. Yes. So
Yeah.
I tried to do that. I tried to rationalize this out this week in a small project I was working on. I know that I'm going to be ever so slightly short on something, but it's going to go inside. So I'm fessing up to this because Noelle said if I don't confess, she's going to out me.
I'm still going to.
So I decided I have a part skein in a slightly different color, and I'm going to finish the inside of that project that nobody will ever see, but Noelle magically will know is a different color. And I said, because I don't want to break into a new fresh skein. So there, true confessions.
Every time you wear those, I'm going to be going, can I see the inside?
Nobody will ever see the inside. Nobody will. Nobody will.
So,
okay.
Okay. So we should maybe talk about what we're wearing.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay.
1625.
Okay.
For the time code.
I'll go first.
Sure.
I am wearing my soiree sweater. It is by Emily Foden, and I'm just going to find a picture here to show you the whole thing. I knit this a few years back. This is the yarn that I used is Fleece Artist. So it is their BFL 28, which they class as a lace weight, but I think it's really more like a fingering weight. So it's 100% BFL, and it's held with Fleece Artist Zambezi. And the Fleece Artist Zambezi, you can't get it anymore, but it came in, I think it was,
it's big.
125 grams or not.
I have one sitting there. Just
okay.
I can grab it. Maybe I can.
It was a big skein, especially for mohair, because a lot of times mohair you don't see in a big skein. And it was a 70-30 blend. So that's Soiree by Emily Foden.
125 grams.
Yeah, 125 grams. So I think it had like
1,000 meters.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. And that color is called Mink. And I really like the sweater. I love the detail down the side. It was in the Knits About Winter publication by Emily Foden, but it was also in an issue of Pom Pom, because that's where I got it. It was an issue of Pom Pom. I can't remember what issue, but really nice sweater. It was fun to knit, and yeah, it's starting to get cool enough to wear it. And then I'm also wearing my Sophie scarf, and this is one that I knit with a hand spun yarn that I had left over. The Sophie scarves are a good project for some leftover yarn. So it was hand spun that I had left over from a braid from Shirley Bryan that was a merino silk bamboo blend. So
okay. And I am
Kelly, what are you wearing?
The Always vest, and I did put in a better picture because this vest is all about the details on the side panel. So you can just see there. And it was a pattern by Anna Daku, and it's called the Always Vest. I knit this in, I'm just going to get rid of that now. I knit this holding two strands together. So this is, again, talking to reference sort of what you did earlier. I believe the pattern was written for a light worsted yarn, and I held together one strand of super soft in oatmeal and one strand of the Drops alpaca. It doesn't have a color, it has a number. I know it was 2020, and you could not have gotten I don't think a dyer could have gotten these as close together as those two colors. And it was just a happy coincidence that I found that combination in my stash. So this was all stash yarn. Still have lots of it left, but I love a vest. It's I like a vest to wear underneath a coat, underneath a denim jacket, so that you don't have the extra bulk of a sweater in the sleeves. And I also like a vest because sometimes, I don't know, like it's that in-between season right now. So where it's still cool enough that I may not want a full sweater on all the time, but it's really nice to have a vest. Keeps you cozy. And, you know, when your chest is warm, you're cozy for either your hat, your head, or your chest, or your feet.
Or your hands.
Our hands. Okay. So if parts of you are cozy, I
just
guess
need to
the
get
rest of you is
started.
cozy. Yeah, absolutely. But I do really love the pattern. And it was just fun and fast. And the ultimate best thing about knitting a vest is there's no sleeve
No
island to
sleeves.
get
Yeah.
stranded on.
Yeah.
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 When you're done,
Yes,
you're
I
done.
do. I definitely want to do a vest this year. Oh, well, this year's only got 6.5 weeks left, 7 weeks left. Better get moving.
I think you mean this winter, right?
No, I mean this year.
Yes. Yes. Oh, this year? Okay. I've actually got another one picked out. I have yarn picked out for it and I have the pattern picked out. And I don't know if I will get it done this year. Probably not this year, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. So, did you finish anything?
I did. I might have finished more if somebody wasn't trying to make me cast on more things, and I won't name names, but she's here in this room. She might be on your screen. I was trying to be diligent and finish things, and she said, "Oh no, like cast on, cast on." I think she just wanted a cast on buddy because she was casting on something new too.
I did.
Yes.
I
So
did.
what did I finish? I finished a pair of socks. There are two.
Very nice.
These are, this is my own pattern. So it's not a pattern sock. I'll put one down so I can talk about them. I just did a little bit of I don't even know. It's like a broken rib stitch in there. And I did it on both sides. So there'll be a pair of them going down. I used a Flegel heel. And then I just did a 2x2 rib cast off. So this was a toe up sock. And the yarn that I used is, excuse me, it was sitting right here. There we go. Excuse me. Twin Socks or Sock Twins by Estelle Yarns. And this is the multi, I don't even know if it has a color on here. I was just happy because this was fairly deep stash. This was from 2019. Used up. Not quite. I used 70 grams. There's two matching 50-gram balls there. So I used 70 grams to do these socks. And I love the gradient going from dark to light. So then I had two of these balls left over, which would be the top. So I cast on. I just started this last night so I could have something to show for a whip. So tiny. Teeny, teeny, tiny. It's the tiniest little DRK everyday sock ever. And it's going to be for Miles. So you can see the rib detail and let me see. There we go. Focused. And I have enough left. So I'm going to make him a little pair of socks so he can wear these because obviously, well, you may have figured out where these are headed. These are heading to Kendall. She's probably watching, but anyway, and then Miles will have a pair of socks to wear with mom. And yeah, so that's what I finished.
Okay, so Jean was asking what kind of a heel. You said it was a Flegel heel, correct?
Yes, a Flegel heel. It's a really good fit. This is the same heel that Andrea Mowry uses in the DRK Everyday Socks.
Okay.
And they are honestly such a good fitting sock that I thought I would just do that here. They look a little odd, like it's not a traditional looking heel, but it really is a good fit and they stay in place. I really like them. So yeah.
Okay.
And you?
So, well, first of all, I'm going to show Penelope in her dress.
Okay. Cutest ever. Look at this.
So that is the Helen Joyce is the dress. It's by Tega Hilliard. And then the little headband is the Baby Capulet by Ash Christine. And that is done in Lillian Pine in her Daylily sock. And that color is called Papaya. And that was
it's
one
gorgeous.
skein. And
gorgeous.
Yeah, so cute. And I mean, she's just getting so big and she's long. And I could have actually knit the dress longer, but anyways, it's going to look cute too, though, with just like a little pair of leggings.
Yes.
So anyway, so that's Penelope. That's 5 months. So yeah, she's so cute. So,
Do you
and I
have
haven't
the
gotten to
6-month?
see her. I haven't gotten to see her for 2 weeks because of this COVID. So hopefully soon.
Do you have a 6-month dress on the needles?
Not yet. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to figure out 6 months.
She
I
is
don't know.
such a little cutie. Such a
So
cutie.
anyway, I'm trying to there we go. Okay, so that was one finish. And then the other one that I've got, the other finish that I've got are these pair of socks. So these are just a pair of vanilla socks. Again, it's my own pattern. And just the same as Kelly, I just put like a little pattern down the side. I just did it on the side of each sock. And these socks are done in Laine du Nord. This is their paint sock. This is color number 10. They don't have color names, they're just color numbers. So I got this sock yarn at Little Red Mitten. My socks they're not matching, but they're just fraternal twins. The reason that I did that was because down in this sock, there was kind of break. Which sock? This one. Yeah, this one. There was a break in the yarn and it started again. So I knew I wouldn't get it to repeat. So I thought instead of trying everything, I'm just going to do them completely different. And then the heel is Indigo Dragonfly. Yeah, so I just picked out the gold and I thought these are just like, they just look like the perfect fall socks. I took a picture of them out in the leaves and they just look like perfect fall socks. Like they blend in right with the colors of the leaves right now. And like that sock yarn goes fairly far. Like I know I don't have a very big foot, but that's still a fairly long leg. And I've still got 46 grams of the striped yarn left. So it goes really far. So I've got enough easily to do a little pair of shorties.
I have that same colorway.
I really like that colorway. And this honestly, it was just so much fun to knit just to see the colors all change. And it's kind of a different stripe because it's like this fades and then you just kind of got like a solid color in between all of them.
Yeah.
I really like it. I mean, for a commercial self-striping, it's a really nice yarn. So
Julia was commenting, well, she was giggling because the DRK sock for a gift, because I love the socks, but it took me a long time to do them because it's all over knit to purl to ribbing. And I always said nobody would ever get them as a gift, but you know, miles doesn't count. And besides, Julia, it's teeny tiny.
Yeah.
It's so tiny.
And it's when you're knitting for grandchildren, it's not the same. You just do it.
Yeah. And you know, he'll get to wear them for all of, I don't know what,
3
or 4 months before he grows out.
I know.
Yes, it's so fun.
Okay. And then a couple of other things that I finished. They're not knitted finished objects, but they're spinning finished objects. So this is one of the fiber skeins that I got at
Wellington Fibers.
Yes, from Kitchener. This one was from Kitchener. And this color is called Painted Peonies. So I don't know if you can see all the colors in it. Like it's got silk in it. So all the silk just gives it a sheen.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is just a 2-ply. So I just broke the fiber up into 2 pieces and then just spun each and then plied it together. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm happy with that. And it's about like a heavier fingering. So it's not quite as thick as a sport, but it's more like just on the heavy fingering side. And then this one I showed you before. This is just I had a little 25 gram bumps of, it was the Noob fiber by Malabrigo. And I had bought a couple more of them and I just wanted to practice my chain plying. So I did another couple of them. So these are all just 3 little 3-ply chain plied little 25 grams. And I thought I could even put those like in a sweater, just as little stripes up in the yoke.
Absolutely. You could. They're so pretty. I really like that dark purpley one.
Yeah,
it's
so, and I really like the chain plying, how it kind of keeps the color together. So you get more like I don't know, you don't get so much of the barber poling, you just get more.
Yes.
So anyway, really like it. It was fun. I didn't think I'd ever like chain plying or get onto it. I love it. I love doing it. It's just you just get in a rhythm and I just really like doing it. But anyway. So
So
that
does
was all
that
my
mean,
finishes. Does
is your
that mean what?
spinner empty now?
Yeah, because I just finished those today.
Because,
Oh, it'll have something on it before I see you, Kelly.
oh,
Even if that's
come on.
tomorrow.
I have my box of
I
Wellington
have to do
fibers.
I have to do Rachel's first.
Yeah. Look at
So
this. I showed this already, but like, I can't wait to see that color spun up. Look
I
at
know,
that.
I know.
It's gorgeous.
So
So, well, you let me know when that spinner's empty.
I will.
Sarah says she told her husband she wants an e-spinner for Christmas. She said his eyes bugged out of his head.
Sarah, you would love it. You just like it's seriously. Then you get another whole fiber stash.
There were a couple of questions about. I'm sorry, I've got the yawnies. I stayed up way too late last night. Anyway, the socks that you just showed, Pat was wondering, is there a way to make them so that they do match with that yarn?
Oh yeah, if there hadn't have been the break in the yarn, I actually could have easily pulled off enough to get to it, but I was doing it on a plane and I just didn't want to get into doing that. There's lots of yarn there. Even if you had to break it, it would be easy to match the socks. So
and there was another. Oh, sorry, I don't know who asked the question, but I remember reading it. She was wondering, what actually did you do on the socks for your pattern on the side of that sock?
I just did. It's
Is it that shell stitch? No, it's not.
No, I just did a purl one on each side. There's 4 stitches in the middle. So I did, I twisted 2 in opposite directions and then did 4 rows plain. So I did it on every 5th row. And then I did the twist 2, but in the opposite directions going out. So the twist 2 is just like, hold 1 stitch in front. The other ones hold 1 stitch in back, and you do it with or without a cable needle.
Oh, okay. So
You know
you're
what I
just
mean?
like a traveling,
Yep.
like this then. Okay.
Yep. And I just did them so it doesn't turn out like a braid. I just did them opposite as I went down so that they almost look like, I don't know. I will write in the show notes what I did.
Okay.
So
it's very pretty.
Thanks.
I should
So
get mine cast on.
I just like having to have a pattern in there because it's a lot easier to count your rows if you've got a pattern than to actually.
It
have to
is. It's so
rows.
much easier. Yeah. So much easier. Yes.
So.
Okay.
So
should we take a little break and do a draw?
Sure.
Well, let's. You're so easy to get along with.
About Mary's pattern first.
Yes, let's talk about Mary's pattern.
Okay.
So our friend Mary, who has been a knit chatter, like almost from the beginning, I think, from the very beginning, published her first pattern on Ravelry. Congratulations, Mary. And it is called the Hollyhock Wrap. And she wants to share the pattern.
Well, first of all, it's just become live like this week. But previous to that, she had actually done a collaboration with Melissa on knitting the stash.
Oh, and that's right too. Yes,
there had been kits available for that on Melissa's website, Knitting the Stash, and she had paired it with, I believe Melissa. I don't know if they were from her sheet. Mary might know, but she does collaborations with some small farms and gets some like small batch farm yarns. And that's what it was originally kitted up with. And I mean, it's gorgeous. I think the yarn was called Shorn. So I think that's perfect for, and the shawl looks so nice. It's got like a button up at the top. So like it hangs perfectly. Once you put it around. So it's basically knit in a rectangle, but then you've got that button placement. So it's easy to put the shawl on and keep it on. So very gorgeous pattern, Mary. So
I just have to do something here.
Okay. So Mary's been generous enough to give us a pattern to give away. So we're going to have a draw for that today. So Kelly's got it set up, so I don't know what she wants you to type in there. Oh, well, that's what I would have suggested. So anyway, so if you want to type in #Hollyhock, we're going to do a draw. We're going to do a random draw for that pattern. And I was going through my stash, and I've got several different yarns that I actually could do it in. First of all, there's I've got some Le Bien-Aimé. I think it's Helix, which I think is a Gotland merino. I'd have to look. Anyways, it's a lace weight yarn, but I've got 2 skeins of it. And if I held it together, I think it would be the perfect weight for that yarn. And the color that I've got, it's like, I've got one skein that's totally the French gray, and the other skein is called Cassiopeia. And it's kind of the French gray, but it's just got little hints of pink and purple in it, which are perfect for hollyhock. So I think it would look, yeah. So I've got that, or I've got 3 skeins of Blue Moon Fibers Crackpaca.
Oh, that would be so nice. That's one of my favorite yarns.
And the Crackpaca is it all alpaca?
No, I don't think so. There's silk in there too, is there not?
Well, maybe, because that's the one that you did your hipster shawl, right? And I've got the 3 skeins that I've got there. It's called Mermaid Tears, and it is like a gray with just pale pink and stuff going through it, and that would look gorgeous too. And I think that would be so soft to have around.
Yes, it would. It'd be super cozy.
I think that might be what I might do, but I haven't decided. And those are stash yarns. I don't even have to go and buy them. And actually, I think they're the perfect amount. I don't even have to worry about having yarn left over. So it was just meant to be.
Meant to be, yes.
So
it's good when a plan comes together. It's good.
That's right. That's right. And both of those yarns I bought with nothing in mind for them. I just like them. So they
were just waiting for the perfect pattern. Yes, absolutely.
They were. So anyway, yeah. So that's and really nice to see. I like in Mary's pattern how the cables go up, and it's got just like that. I haven't really looked at the pattern yet as far as how you get the stitches, but the little bobbly details look like hollyhocks. So
well, and also I'm thinking because I also have not looked at the details yet, but I'm thinking that she said the bobbles, I don't think you have to turn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she has explained how to do it in a way that you don't have to turn the project. So yeah. Kristen says that she's ordered some of Melissa's yarn. She has a great, and she said that she has a really good podcast too.
And she does. And she actually, on her podcast, she goes through, she does a lot of sweater construction. Most of the things that she makes, she does make quite a few modifications to it. So that's kind of nice to see someone that does that. And speaking of that, last week we were talking a little bit about modifications and different fits for sweaters. So I went and looked at some of the books that are available for that. And I actually got Amy Herzog's, I think it's the Ultimate Sweater book. And she goes through like the basic types of sweater construction, because there's basically the drop sleeve, the set-in sleeve, the raglan, and the round yoke. Okay. And then she goes through a lot of the modifications that can be made for those. Now, I've only just started the book, but it's good information. And I actually just got the book on Amazon, and I got it on the Kindle version, and the Kindle version was like $15. So, and if I could have got the book, and that would have been nice. But a lot of times when I'm looking for something to do, or
you're on your iPad anyway.
I'm on my iPad anyway. That's right. So I thought that way it's there. So I've kind of gone through it, and a lot of the things that she says so far like make sense. And she did talk a little bit about dividing up your stitches between the front and the back, and depending on how busty you are compared to like your back width, like how you can kind of adjust for that.
Yeah.
So I did think there was good information in it. I haven't done anything from it, and I haven't gotten all the way through it. Like I've only just started it, but I'm enjoying it so far. So almost to the point where maybe at some point I might be tempted to design my own sweater, but I wouldn't want to do it to grade it. I just want to do something specifically
just for yourself.
Myself. Yeah. Like I have no interest at all in designing and having to do all that grading. And it's just, it would make knitting a job. So anyway.
Okay. So I'm going to give you just a few more seconds here, and you only have to enter your name one time too.
That's right, because the
multiple entries.
Filters out,
it filters out multiples. Yes. So, okay. Do we think we're ready?
We're ready.
We're ready. Let me just pop on there and start the tool. We have 157 entries. Who will it end on? Yay,
Nikki.
Nikki. Congratulations. I think, well, okay, let me get to that part in a minute on how to collect your pattern. Because what I wanted to say was that Mary was generous enough to offer up a second pattern too. For those of you that are not able to join us in this time slot, so we will, as per our usual, run the comments throughout this week. So if you type underneath the podcast, hashtag Hollyhock, and any other comments that you like as well, if you put that in next week, just before the podcast, we will do the random comment picker, and we will let you know next week who's won a pattern. So I had a chat with Mary this week, and I think that we decided the best way to get in touch was to send your information through to our email again, which I can't find now.
I'll look for it.
There it is. Okay. And then we will forward your information to Mary, and she will find a way to get you the pattern. If you're on Ravelry, include your Ravelry name, which Nikki, I know you are, and then she can just gift it to you directly on Ravelry. And in fact, you may already be friends with Mary on Ravelry, so just let us know one way or the other.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, thank you again. Thank you, Mary, for
thank you, Mary. And congratulations on your pattern. It's beautiful.
Yes, very beautiful. You should be proud. All right.
Okay.
What
so
else
did
we
you
got
cast
going
on anything?
Well, yeah. So did I mention I cast on the tiniest sock ever? Aside from that, I swatched. So I'll show that. So this is some yarn that I showed last week. It's going to be the Cozy Classic Raglan. And I had a banner in there for that. I'll get it too. Okay.
You talk, I'll get it.
And I'm going to be using yarn from Leo and Roxy. And first up, I've got the marled sock. And this is straw into gold. And then this, and I apologize because it's not as bright as it shows up on the screen. This color, for some strange reason, does not like to be on screen, but it's buttercup. And there's like nowhere that I can put it to give you a better version. It's picking up the LED lights. It's a much softer yellow than you're seeing on the screen. And so what will they look like together? Perfection. Look at this. Look at this. It's absolutely beautiful.
It almost comes out like gold, like you don't even see the black.
I know. It's just this gorgeous marl. Like, look at how, so like when you're looking at it from a sweater distance, like how beautifully marled that is. And it is so, so soft. So, and I got gauge right away.
Good.
It's on 4.5 millimeter needles. It pained me to cut it. I actually even blocked it just so that I could show everybody tonight how beautiful it is. And it pained me to cut it, but I will hang on to this.
I have actually swatches still attached to the balls.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
But, yep. I put them in. I have the other unwashed parts just like sitting on a thing. So I just got them in a little bucket, and then because especially if I think I'm going to need the yarn.
I've done that too, but this one I thought I'm probably going to be okay for yardage without this tiny little square. And I know it's not a full size swatch, but oh well.
And if you need it in the end, you can always rip it out and use it.
Yeah, but I just love it. I love it. So I can't wait to start this. But I said I would not start something else until I finish something else. So, I mean, I did finish the socks, but that doesn't count. I had to finish something else. So this is the, these are the labels too, by the way. I did say the marled sock, whoops, wrong way. Straw into gold. You can get this through Leo and Roxy. And I don't know if it's on their Little Red Mitten or if it's directly on Leo.
I think I've only seen the marled on Leo and Roxy.
Okay. But if you can't find it and you're interested to find it, because they have the marled in quite a few colors, like this, this one that I grabbed earlier, this is another color in the marled, and this is their purple haze marled sock. So this is what it looks like, not caked. So, but if you can't find something that you're looking for on their website, don't be shy to ask, because sometimes they have other things. But look at this color. I love this color. Okay, so that's what I cast on, which is just a swatch and a little teeny sock.
Okay.
I restrained. I kept working along diligently.
Okay, well, I did work too. I got a little farther on this. So I think I was kind of just down to the yoke. So I put a little more into it, but I was busy. I wanted to finish those socks. I wanted to spin. And I mean, I'm not going to wear this for another couple of weeks anyway. So it will get done. So I did get, this is the, I should put up what it is. This is the festive cardigan by Skein Deer Knits. I need to find it. There we go. And this pattern, her pattern is great. There's all different motifs in it. So you can kind of pick out the ones that you want. Like there's other snowflakes, there's a present, there's reindeer, there's snowmen. So there's all
really?
different
I didn't
ones.
know that.
Yes, there's all different ones, and you can kind of pick and choose what you want to put in. So I could have done it all over. You could have had the pattern all over, but I only had one skein of that light gray. So this yarn is Ramagarn. This is Phenol Garn, and the light gray is Gamel. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gamel series.
Yeah. Yes. So, and the green is, I believe it's dark olive heather, and then the gray is just light gray heather. So even though it looks almost off white, but it's gray. Yeah. So there's all different motifs, and then there's different, like each motif, she's got, so many 8-row motifs, 9-row motifs, 10-row motifs. So you just can switch them out and put them where you want, or if you need something a little longer. So, I mean, and really it would be really easy to use those motifs in something else, like even if you wanted to put them in a sock or whatever. So I'm really enjoying that. But of course, I'm at the boring part. So that's why it's kind of gotten set aside.
I know.
So I did work on that. And then the next thing that I worked on was my Great Love by Ankastrick.
I can't believe the progress you made on that this week. That's a huge amount of knitting you've gotten knocked out.
So, and I'm almost done the first sleeve. So there's my sleeve. I've got the pockets. I'm down to the pockets here. So I've got the pocket top, and then I've just got the liner on my pony cord.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is so beautiful.
So I'm doing the sleeves first, because then I'm going to see how much I've got left for the length of the.
Right.
So this is done in Holskarn Tides held double. So I think I'm going to use most of a whole cone for this. And Kelly stopped by for a few minutes on the weekend, and she felt the swatch, and it's just blocked. This just feels incredible. And it's, I'm really happy with it. I'll get that sleeve done. Probably not tonight, but I should have this. I should have this finished by next week. So
yes, it's beautiful. She's going to love it.
I hope so. I really like it. So I hope she does.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I've got is I was working on a test knit. And this is a sock for Natalie of Remembrances Pottery, who donates sock prizes for our knit along pattern prizes. So this is her this year's Advent sock, and it's designed so that it can be knit. The pair of socks can be knit in 24 days.
Yes.
So there's like 12 sections in each sock. So you start off, there's the cuff, and then this design, this design, this design, this design, and the heels even figured in there, and the toe. So if you do it one section a day, you're going to have a full pair of socks by the 24th.
Yes.
So
because there's nine little motifs in there, and then you've got your rib, your heel, your toe is 12 times 2.
Yep.
Is the month of December.
Yep. And I mean, she wanted Tester to do it in a 2-color version. So I did that. But the pattern should be coming out within the next week or so. And lots of the testers also did it in all sorts of colors, like you can use your scrap yarns for it, and picked out different colors for all of the motifs. But I sort of really like the 2-color version, and mine
That's
is
pretty. It's
done
really pretty.
in this is the yarn that I used. It's Shellridge Yarns. And this is their, I think they call it Soft Heathers. Now they list this yarn as a 3-ply fingering, but there's 185 yards in 60 grams. So this is really more like a sport weight yarn, and it's knitting up like a sport weight yarn. So this, I did 60 stitch sock, like there's different sizes in it, but this is 60 stitch. I used a 2.75 millimeter needle, and this sock will fit my daughter Jacqueline, who's a size 9-10.
Very nice.
So,
very
yeah.
nice.
So if I was going to do it for me, I'd go down to a fingering weight yarn, and I would still use my 2.25 millimeter needle, but that'll all be in the pattern. So the pattern should be out. I'm not sure what she's calling it. I know it's based on the Nutcracker. If you
on the
read
Nutcracker,
through,
yes.
Yeah, if you read through, she's got a little blurb telling you what each of the symbols represents. And yeah, wonderful. Again, another wonderful pattern by Natalie. And it'd be so easy to do if you just broke it down into those sections. So,
yeah, it would. It's very manageable.
Yeah. Yeah. So this, the colors in this color, this rusty kind of red color is called Cajun Spice. And then the light color is called Sand. And that was yarn that I got up at Shellridge Farms in Gravenhurst.
I have some of that too. I should use that.
It's nice. It feels really nice. It just is a little bit thicker.
Thicker?
Yeah. So.
Rachel is saying it would fit her too.
Yeah, if it would, Rachel. Rachel, I'll give you the yarn. Anyway, so did you cast on anything else? Or you have to show us what you're working on? I have one more thing, but you go first. I've been talking all the time here.
That's okay. These are the things I would have finished, so I'll talk a little bit about it. But I finished one. I have a hoe.
Well, that was my sock was a hoe.
That's right. These are the Winter Walk mittens by Leanne Lang. Did I say that right? Yes. Yep. And she gave away a pattern package of these on our podcast over the last 2 weeks.
In here, so I'll stick it in.
Yes, I think it's
still they come in all different designs.
Yeah. So I'm making the ones the same as the orangey rusty color ones that are there. And I think Noelle made the ones in the top right-hand corner with the beads.
Yep.
So I thought I would try a different pattern. And I'm telling you, these are going to be so cozy. So I'm using hedgehog yarns, and it's the Hedgehog Aran. I think that's what it's called. And then for the liner, I'm using the Diamond Luxury Yarns 100% Baby Llama Heather, I think it's called. This is the one I'm going to slightly run out of, ever so slightly, but I happen to have the same yarn, a small amount left over from some other ones that I'd made. So you will never see it because it will be buried in the mitten. So the premise here is that you knit a mitten, and then you are knitting a second mitten attaching up here. And then you tuck that mitten inside. So you get a double lined mitten, and it's so cozy.
Isla had mine on. Isla had mine on. And I mean, obviously they're huge on her, right? She's only 3, and she did not want to take them off. So I'm going to have to do some for her with. So. And
then the only other thing that I worked on my sweater this week too, but I mean, there's nothing different to show. It's the same. It's buried in the bottom of that bag, but it's the same sweater. It's just got more length to it now.
The J sweater.
Yes, the J sweater.
Okay. So I did start a new sweater on my birthday because why not?
Because it's your birthday and you'll knit if you want to.
That's right. So I started the Fairy Bouquet by Joanna Ang. I know they've got that in here somewhere. And I've gotten to the point where I've split for the yoke. So I did take a picture. So, and I'll show you the sweater in a minute, but I am doing it in yarn that I got in Turkey. So it's Gazelle, Gazzal, and it's called Rock and Roll. So it's already got a halo in the yarn itself, but it's super soft, and the sheen is like unbelievable. I love it.
It's really pretty.
So here's where I am. So the yoke's all done, and now I'm down to the body.
Oh, it's got the sleeve pattern too.
Well, this goes all the way down the sleeve.
Yeah, that's really pretty. I like that.
I did a picture. Let's see. I did a picture there. That's what it goes all the way down the sleeve.
Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. Absolutely.
So I have looked at this sweater. I've loved this sweater from the first time it came out, and there's a lot of people doing it. Marianne's doing it. She's doing it in a gorgeous royal blue color, and I just love it. It was, again, now I'm at the part where it's like straight down, but the sleeves will be fun on this because the
sleeves will actually be fun because there's a pattern. Exactly.
Pattern all the way down.
Yes. So, that's like the sweater that I did. Was it last winter? I think the Celtic knot sweater, and it had the Celtic knot all the way down the sleeve. So at least it made the sleeves interesting to do. Yes. Very nice.
Okay. So this is yarn that I got in Turkey. And when I got it, they didn't have enough of the same dye lot. So 2 of the skeins that I got, and they're 50-gram skeins, 2 of the skeins that I got were a different dye lot. And I thought I knew I was going to need them. So what I did was this whole top section here down to the end of this rib, I did with the 2 different skeins, because I figured at the end of the rib, if I go into something else, because it's a different in texture, you're not going to notice.
Right.
So I think that worked out fine. And now I've got probably about half a skein left still in that other dye lot. So I'm going to keep it till the bottom of the body, and then I'll do the bottom rib in it. And that way, same thing, you're going to a rib, so I don't think you'll notice the
very
difference.
Nice. Very nice.
Anyway, beautiful. Yeah, so lots of fun. I'm really enjoying it. And it does have, there's a little bit of a pattern that goes down the side. It's just
I like that in a sweater too.
But this is really nice because you can see here, I've just finished one of the skeins, and I've got, where is it? There, like this much left. Well, I'm not going to knit that because this yarn, it's a tubular construction. It's one of those chainette yarns. So if I actually join a ball of yarn and have to sew it in, I'm not going to be able to hide that very well. So when you've got a little bit of pattern going down the sides of your sweater, if you start or stop there, you can kind of sew them into that and you won't be able to see it. Whereas if it's just if it had been just a plain round and round, I would have put a fake seam down the side just so that I would have that.
So you have a spot.
Those in there. Yeah. Anyway, really liking it. The patterns was super fun to knit. The sleeves look more complicated. Like that design looks more complicated than it is. It really is quite easy. And you get to know it. And they're kind of like little butterflies.
It's very pretty. Very pretty.
And this color is just a very pale, blushy pink. And I mean, it'll be a nice, even like a Christmas sweater because it's a little bit fancier. Yeah. So really enjoying it. So.
Okay, we had a couple of questions. Becky, the name of the mittens. Sorry, were you finished talking about the sweater? Okay. The name of the mittens was the Winter Walk Mittens by Leanne Lang.
Yeah.
And then going back a little bit, Nikki had a question about her musselburgh. She was wondering how many grams she forgot to weigh after she finished her increases. So she wants to know how far to knit before leaving enough for the decreases. I think I was around 10 grams. What do you think you were? Do you know?
I honestly, I was at least that probably, but again, it's going to depend on what your yarn is and what the yardage of your yarn is. And
yes. Right. Well, if she's doing a fingering weight, and then plus she said she did the medium size. And I think that's what I made as well. And I think I was around 9 or 10 grams.
Okay. Cause I think my tension was tighter and I probably did the large, even though it only turned out the size of the small.
Okay.
So.
Mary's asking about tassels in the sky. Did I push the slubs to the front or the back? I did not.
I did nothing.
I did nothing.
Let them go where they wanted to.
I will admit that when I started knitting it, I wanted to push the nubs to the front of the project because I felt that I should. But then once I got into the flow of the yarn, I just knit. I just kept knitting, and I ended up with a really good mix of things to the nubs to the front and nubs to the back. So it worked out really well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wendy said she's at 11 grams of fingering and she did the
Okay.
medium. So yeah. So you might even want to if you look like going to be long enough, you might even want to leave yourself a little bit extra just to be sure. You don't want
Just
to
to be
have to rip
safe.
back.
Yes.
Although like you could do what Kelly's doing and finish it in a different yarn because it's going to go up inside anyway. Well, it's going to go up inside.
Well, it might not. You don't know what her fingering skein looked like. She might want to flip it. It might
Well,
be.
she might. That's right.
It
But if
might
you don't
might be
want to,
variegated.
if you don't want to, that is a good way. You could
Yes,
easily use
there's that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the inside.
Yeah.
So
okay.
All right. What else have we got?
We should probably talk about our make-alongs that we have going on.
I guess we could talk about that. Yeah.
We should, yeah. So, okay, well, we have got our Holst along. And the Holst along started on October the 1st and it runs to December the 31st. And for that, all you have to do is knit something using Holst yarn. So you can hold it single, you can hold it double, you can hold it in combination with something else. You can knit a pullover, a cardigan, a skirt, a dress.
A dress, a skirt.
Why not? I'm going to knit a dress.
You can knit gloves. I had these here too. I didn't get them finished.
You can knit hats, scarves, mitts.
Yeah.
So you can knit whatever you want as long as it's
knit whatever you want.
Yarn. Yeah. So you can knit an Afghan or crochet an Afghan.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be knitting.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be knit. You can crochet. So
can you weave with Holst?
Sure. Well, you could definitely use Holst for your weft. I don't know about your warp because it might break too easy to use for the warp.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, so there are on Ravelry, there is a discussion thread and there is a finished object thread. So just get your projects in there. And again, that runs till the end of the year. So you've got lots of time. So you can enter as many projects as you can get finished in that time. So
we have a banner too. I'm not paying attention now.
Okay. Okay.
We have a banner. So if you're interested in sharing your project on Instagram, you can use this hashtag so that we can see what you're working on there as well.
Okay. Yeah. And then the other knit along that we have going on is our sock make along. And that started January 1st. It goes to December 31st. At the end of every month, we draw prizes, both a pattern prize and a sock yarn prize. Our original goal was to get to 2,022 pairs in 2022, and we've already passed that. But we still want to see everybody's socks. I know that there's people that knit a lot of socks for Christmas. So it's so nice to go through there and look, there's so many different socks, so many different yarns.
It was fun when I went through to pick the October winner. That last week of October, there were so many Halloween socks in there. Yep. It was really pretty. And now I'm guessing we're going to start to see the Christmas holiday ones. Socks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And probably like a lot of people do like an Advent sock because it's a good way to use up your Advent calendars, like putting the minis into socks. So all you have to do is finish socks. It doesn't matter when you started them. When you've got a finished pair, just pop them into the finished object thread. And like I said, at the end of every month we draw. And at the end of the year, we're going to draw a grand prize for the whole year. So your socks are in there for the whole time. Gorgeous.
I just like to leave it here to look at it. So the grand prize is from Full Moon Fibers. They donated this to the podcast. And it is, the bag is from J. Hendry Design. And then they dyed matching yarn. Comes with 2 minis to go with the bag. Look at that. See, this is the kind of thing that if I owned this, I wouldn't want to knit the socks. I'd want to just hang on to the yarn because it matches the bag, right? This is the thing I have to start to get over, but yeah, knit the socks. Yeah, and there's this bag. It comes up like there's a lining that comes up out of the bag too.
Yep.
That
bag will hold more than a pair of socks.
Oh gosh, it would hold an entire sweater. It's a big bag. So it's like a nice canvas lining bag. Stands up on its own. It's got this gorgeous leather handle. It's a very nice bag. Thank you. Thank you, Allison and Jessica.
Yeah, thanks to Allison and Jessica. Okay. Did you acquire anything this week?
You know what? I don't think I did.
Well, I did.
Of course you did.
No,
I did
because
not.
I
didn't. I did not.
Because I had a birthday.
Okay, fair enough.
So anyway, for my birthday, Rachel was actually talking to Kelly before my birthday. Rachel's my daughter-in-law, so Kelly knew I was getting this.
I did.
So Rachel and Curtis and Molly and Isla got me this book, Strands of Joy, and I want to make everything in this book.
In it. I
want to make everything. It is 20 colorwork knitting patterns for calm. I need calm. I need some calm in my life. Anyways, it's by Anna Johanna. And it does have, you see on the back cover there, it does have this dress here.
Oh, very nice.
Super cute. I really like that dress. But seriously, every pattern in here I want to make. They're beautiful. So very happy to have that. And I don't know when I'm going to have time to start one. It may not be till after Christmas, but I definitely want to do that dress. And there was another one in here that I wanted to start right away too. But there's a combination of pullovers, cardigans. I think there was a hat. Anyway, just really pretty patterns in there. And then she also went to this website here. This is Little Laurel Fibers. And she bought me some BFL fiber. And this is my first. I've never had a bat before.
Oh.
So this is a bat. So it's a gradient bat. So I have to figure out how to spin this. And I think I want to spin it like I want it to be a gradient, like go from either the dark or whatever, one way or the other, right? Or maybe divide it up so that it goes to one in the middle and then goes back out again.
Oh, that would be nice too.
I think that would be really nice. So I think I might actually try and figure that out. But I think if I strip it, I can do that. I'm just going to have to weigh out the fiber or measure out the fiber so I get it even. But this just feels like, oh, I could just like sleep on it. So this is 100% BFL fiber, non-superwash. And there is 58 grams in this. So if I spun that up like that, I would get enough to do the yoke of a sweater. And that would look gorgeous, like in a black sweater. Then put that. So anyway, so very pleased with that too. Like, I just wish there was more time to do everything. But anyway, yeah, that might be, maybe I'll get that all done and spun up. So that could be my Christmas cast on.
Okay.
So maybe, I said maybe. I'm like, there's only how long till Christmas?
6.5 weeks.
6.5 weeks till Christmas. Oh, like that's just not possible.
I know. Wasn't it just, I don't know, like a month ago that we were, Happy New Yearing? I don't know where the year went.
I know. So, and we have to get our pajama party organized.
Yes. We are doing the pajama party again this year. If you're new here and you didn't get in on the pajama party fun, we did that on the podcast that was between Christmas and New Year's.
And New Year's, yep.
Yes, we wore our pajamas on the internet, and I'm hoping that all of you who joined in the fun were wearing your pajamas as well. And prior to that, and we'll talk about this again at the beginning of December, but what we had asked that you do is that you send us a photo to our Gmail account of yourself knitting in PJs.
Yeah.
I was going to say at home, but it didn't have to be at home.
Yeah,
you want to knit in PJs at your local park or your coffee shop. I am not going to, there's no judgment here. So we just had people send in pictures, and I put it together in a slideshow, and it was so fun to see everybody knitting in their PJs with us.
And it was so much fun for us to see your faces. Because we see you, or we don't see you. We converse with you, but we don't know really what you look like, or what you're knitting on, or what. So it was really nice for us just to, but don't feel pressured. Only do it if you want to.
Yes.
We don't want anybody to feel pressured either. So.
Yes, because you do have to be aware that this podcast does stay on the internet, on our channel forever. Afterwards. So forever, right? So just make sure that you're completely comfortable having your photo on there. But it was so much fun, and I'm so appreciative of those of you who joined in. Sarah has just pointed out that she's in her PJs for every knit chat.
Well, sometimes I have my PJs.
Sometimes
on the bottom.
have PJs on the bottom. We're not gonna lie. Yes.
That's why I don't stand up to show you my sweater.
I know. That's why we started putting pictures in. It's, it's knitwear on the top, but it's, party on the bottom.
Yeah, we should come up with something of a cast on for that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to think about that.
Pajama party cast on for sure. Yeah. Yes. Okay. More notes. And then there was another comment to, was it Kathy, that said, could we have a knit the yarn? Already in the works, Kathy. We're thinking about something like that in the new year. We've done that knit along before, but it was really popular. I think we even extended it last time because so many people were having fun, and like we were stashing down. It was like smash that stash type thing. So we were knitting into stash, and that was fun. And I always think that's a fun thing to do in the new year.
Stock up now.
Oh, no stocking up. It has to be in the stash prior to a certain date. And trust me, we all have it.
Want to go back to one question before. Okay, first of all,
is it what yarn are you using for your fairy bouquet?
No, this one. I want to knit for my cone of hopes, but need to double it. What do you suggest? Okay. I roll some of mine on my yarn winder, so that is what I'm doing right now. So I have my
cone and a cake.
So, and I only, like, I probably roll off maybe 50 to 100 grams at a time, and then work it. And then this yarn is really easy to spit splice to join it. So
yes,
you don't need to worry too much about the joins, but that's what I do for the cones. If I'm working double, if I'm just working from the cone itself, I've got that, but I put it on my paper towel holder, my sawed off paper towel holder, and it just sits on the ground, and I knit from it like that if I'm just knitting from a cone single.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other question was, Pat wanted to know what the yarn was. The yarn was Gazelle, Gazzal, and it was, and then the line of yarn is Rock and Roll. And I did buy that yarn in Turkey, but I've since looked, and I did see it on the Hobby website. Is it Hobby or Hobby? Hobby. So I did see it on the Hobby website, and it's really inexpensive yarn. Like, I got all the yarn for that sweater in Turkey for less than $20. So, but I don't have the composition of it. It's only got 8% wool. The rest is acrylic and some kind of microfiber. But it's got a really nice core, and it feels really nice. So I don't know. We'll see how warm it is, or I don't know. Like, it's got the halo, but I'm hoping it's not going to pill too much, but I don't know that until I start wearing it. So, But so far I really like working with it. It's really nice to work with. I
was just reading how many people are actually sitting in PJs right now. So every week is a pajama
everybody
party,
but us.
Apparently. Everybody but us. Yes. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Oh, there was something I wanted to point out. Now I've lost it. Sorry. Okay.
Anyway, stash along's always good for the beginning of January, because we always have great plans for the year. We're going to do this, and we're not going to buy any yarn in Montreal or at Rhinebeck or.
We have such big ambitions in January, don't we? We're going to reorganize the house, and then we're going to knit down the stash this year. And we've got these projects X'd out that we want to do. And then it's the 8th of November today. Yeah. And we're going, where did the year go? Right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Anyway.
All right. Well,
okay.
To recap tonight, we have a giveaway going on this week for a pattern generously donated from Mary called the Hollyhock Wrap. After this podcast is over and it's posted to the YouTube, you can join in, leave a comment below the podcast, and use hashtag Hollyhock, and then we'll pick a winner next week. And while you're in there leaving a comment, don't forget to give the show a thumbs up if you had a good time in here tonight. And and there will be show notes, but they won't be up until
tomorrow night, but they will be in there, and we will link to everything that, all the projects that we talked about. If we talked about different yarns, I will try and link those. There was a couple of other things I said I was going to link. What did I say I was going to link?
Oh, it was.
Oh, I was going to put in the
our
pattern that I
website.
used to do this.
The pattern.
Anyways, if I remember what it was, I'll go through and watch, and or if there's something that's not there that you want to see, just let me know and I can make sure that it gets in there.
Yeah.
But anyways, they will be up there.
I will go back in after the show as well and add time codes to the things that we talked about tonight, so that if you need to refer back and you're looking for a certain spot, then the titles will be along the bottom as you move your mouse across or to scroll across, so you can see. And what else?
And get your Holst projects in there, and
Get your
socks
Holst projects
in. And I see Beth McDonald Stone is designing a project with Holst. I saw her little sweater on Instagram. It was gorgeous.
I love her color choices too. It's like she put a beautiful taupey color in the yoke, and then she used very dark. And I was trying to figure out what the dark one was. I don't know.
And I really liked that. She was knitting it at a 30 stitch gauge, and I really like that with the Holst, like a nice.
Yeah, you would definitely like that.
Yeah.
What was the color though that you used in your Winterfell? What's that dark color?
The Oxford.
And I'm wondering if that's what she was using, because it really looked like that. Lynn has a question before we go. 100% wool when knitting a sock, and there isn't a nylon, so no stretch. Do you make it longer than normal and smaller at the top cast on?
There will still be stretch because it's wool.
But what there won't be is the stretch to keep it hugged into your foot, right? So like normally a sock yarn has that nylon content for a couple of reasons.
Well, it's got the
it
nylon
helps keep the shape
strength.
And then strength as well. Yes.
Yeah.
So you will have to be very careful with washing it too.
That's what I would say. Like I haven't done anything different when I've knitted. I've done a couple of pairs of socks in Mondim, which is 100% Portuguese wool. And I knit them the same as I would, but I do hand wash those socks, and I do put them back on the sock blockers to dry, to help them dry back to the shape that they originally were. So that's the difference there. Whereas the ones with nylon, I can just kind of lay them out and they're fine. But I do find the 100% wool ones I put back on, like I would put back on a blocker like this to dry it, so that it comes back out to the same shape.
Okay.
So. Okay.
All right. I think we're at the end. So thanks for joining us. And
thanks so much, everybody, for coming and having a little chat with us in the Knit Chat Cafe. And this is our favorite place to be every Tuesday night.
Absolutely.
Any night, but we just couldn't do it every night.
No.
We wouldn't have anything to show.
Well, you might. I definitely wouldn't. Oh, all right. So we will see you back. We could just chat. Absolutely. Well, it seems like they don't need us to chat though, Noelle. They do a fine job without us. Yes. That's great to see. That's actually great to see. We're thrilled that you have made friends on here. Friends in the Knit Chat Cafe.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
okay.
Well, so good night, everybody. Yeah. Happy knitting. Have a great week. See you next week.